The next poem I'm going to give you has quite an interesting history, really. It was commissioned and then banned by BBC Radio, which is a fairly decent pedigree as poems go. And what it was, I'd had this epiphany recently that I was doing this thing on Valentine's Day, which consisted of a hidden camera in the city centre where I live, and I was ambushing sort of innocent shoppers about their daily business, and I would sort of leap out from behind the bush or whatever and give them a cheesy love poem, you see, and these hidden cameras would film all the responses and splice them together. So if you imagine just sort of minding your own business on your way home with your bags full of shopping, and you've got, do you know what I mean, the bastard love child of Barry White and Gollum to sort of and I've got loads of cheesy love poems as well, so spicing it all together. And right in the middle of the town centre is this tank, and around the tank are all these teenagers from the parachute regiment, and they're recruiting people to join the parachute regiment. And just a few yards away from them is an anti-war stall, and they're recruiting people for the anti-war movement. And both groups of people are coexisting quite happily. They're obviously recruiting very different demographics of people for their respective campaigns, but everyone's just sort of getting on with it. And so the editor of this piece goes, well, you're going to have to do your cheesy love poem to the anti-war people and then perform it to the soldiers, and we'll splice it all together. It will be hilarious. So I do a cheesy love poem for the anti-war people, and to my horror, they were a little bit precious with me about it, just sort of a bit standoffish. Do you know what I mean? Just sort of, what's the, you know, and that was depressing for me because I sort of believe in their cause, but it's a shame when when people sort of conform to that sort of anti-war stereotype of the Hessian-clad, yoghurt-weaving zealot idiot. You know what I mean? And that sort of got me down a little bit, And then I went and did a cheesy love poem for the soldiers, and we had a great time. We were laughing for ages. We had loads and loads of fun, and I realised that although politically I am very much in the anti-war camp, that socially, in terms of who I'd rather go out on the piss with, it was a bunch of killers, basically, and that was quite an unusual thing for me to come to terms with. And what what they wanted, what the BBC wanted, was this poem for Remembrance Sunday, And I used to know a guy who lived in this fairly unusual street that it was owned by a charity for troubled ex-service people, mainly blokes as well, ex-soldiers, but not entirely. And everyone in the street had got post-traumatic stress disorder. It was quite an unusual place to go for a barbecue, I discovered on a Sunday. And I thought, well, I'll write this for him, and this is called Squaddies, and it goes like this. There's a street for ex-soldiers from all generations, from Normandy to Bosnia, by way of the Falklands. It's serene and peaceful, with a green in the middle. Everyone leaves their door off the latch, and every handshake hides a private smile. It's the kind of place you could imagine as heaven, if you lived in the 50s and had no imagination. There's barely a scream when it's daylight at least, and the nights are submerged in alcohol and Valium. Everyone makes their bed in the morning with a precision that comes from years of training. Not many of them ever see the doctor, and pitifully few are still with their wives. Some have become adept over the course of the years at making small talk with the emergency services, but the sight of an argument can move them to tears, and they all lock their windows on fireworks night. Most have hung on to some kind of weapon, although the only thing they fight for now is their pension, and to maintain some kind of rapport with their children. They don't stand a cat in hell's chance of going to heaven, and that is what haunts the look in the eyes of men who've seen chance toss a coin with their lives. And as long as we're happy to send more to replace them, we should wear our poppies with shame, not pride. Cheers. Yeah. Cheers.